I jokingly told my boyfriend, who had amnesia from a car accident, that he had been in a coma for 2 years, and he was moved to tears, but as he turned and went out, I heard him whisper his ex-girlfriend's name, asking if she was doing well. At that moment, the love fairy tale I had carefully maintained shattered into pieces. The smell of disinfectant hadn't dissipated yet, and Ethan's eyelashes fluttered on the hospital bed as he slowly opened his eyes. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting dappled shadows on his face. I almost held my breath and leaned closer. "Ava?" His voice was hoarse, with a hint of bewilderment from just waking up. The huge rock that had been hanging over my heart for 3 days and nights finally fell to the ground, and my eyes instantly welled up with warmth, but the words that came to my lips took a turn and became a nasty joke. "Ethan," I tried hard to hold back my laughter, put on a straight face, and said in a painful tone, "You're finally awake. You've been in a coma for 2 whole years." His eyes widened suddenly, and his beautiful eyes quickly filled with shock and disbelief. 2 years? Yes. I nodded seriously, counting on my fingers. "Look, it's already 2026. I've been watching over you every step of the way for the past 2 years, and I almost couldn't take care of the company's affairs, just hoping you would wake up." I saw the shock in his eyes slowly being replaced by emotion, his eyes brimming with tears. He reached out and tightly gripped my wrist, his grip so strong it almost hurt. "Ava, thank you for never giving up on me." His voice choked with emotion, filled with the relief of surviving a disaster and a deep sense of dependence. The little bit of mischievous glee I felt at my prank succeeding was instantly enveloped by a warm current. In the past 2 years, Ethan and I had gone from college sweethearts to business partners, our relationship stable and our careers thriving. This car accident came out of nowhere. He had an accident on a rainy night while going to buy me the late-night snack from that place in the west of the city that I had casually mentioned I wanted to eat. I had been by his side for 3 days, emotionally and physically exhausted, and at that moment, I just wanted to use this method to dispel a bit of the gloom that was hanging over us. Silly, what's with the thank you between us? I patted the back of his hand, my tone light. You need to get better quickly, that's what matters. The doctor said you're recovering well, just a slight concussion, which might cause some temporary memory confusion, but don't worry about it. He nodded vigorously, watching me intently without blinking, the deep affection in his eyes almost overflowing. "Ava, I love you. I love you too," I replied with a smile, my heart filled with sweetness. Seeing that he was in good spirits, I prepared to take care of the follow-up examination procedures for him. "Rest for a while, I'll go get the doctor." I turned around and closed the ward door, walking lightly towards the nurse station. Just a few steps away, I faintly heard Ethan's murmur to himself from the ward behind me. The soundproofing wasn't great, and I stopped in my tracks instinctively. First came a murmur filled with satisfaction and a sigh. "Ava, she really loves me." The corners of my mouth couldn't help but turn up. "This fool really believes it." But immediately after, another whisper, so quiet it was almost imperceptible, exploded in my ears like a thunderclap, transmitting itself clearly. "I don't know, Chloe Lynn. How is she doing now?" Chloe Lynn. Lynn Chiua, July. Ethan's ex-girlfriend, the woman who stayed with him for a year in the early stages of his business, but later left because she thought he was poor and couldn't see a future, and instead accepted a rich second-generation's pursuit and went abroad. The smile on my face instantly froze. My blood seemed to stop flowing at that moment, and a chill ran straight from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. My heart, which had been warm just a moment ago, felt like it had been thrown into an ice cave, frozen cold and hard. He just woke up, and after confirming my unwavering love for him, the first person he thought of and cared about was his ex-girlfriend who had abandoned him long ago. I stood there, my hands and feet ice cold, my mind buzzing. That warm and touching scene from just now instantly became incredibly ironic. "Sister Ava? Why are you standing here?" A crisp but not very friendly voice interrupted my thoughts. I turned around and saw Ethan's sister, Olivia. She was carrying a delicate insulated container, with a formulaic smile on her face, but with scrutiny and a subtle hint of hostility in her eyes. "Olivia, you're here." I forced a smile. "Is my brother awake? My mom asked me to stew some soup and bring it over." As she spoke, she walked past me and directly pushed open the door to the ward. Her voice, neither too loud nor too soft, floated over. "Brother, you're finally awake. You scared us to death." But really, just for something to eat, you had to drive out so late. If your wife wants to eat something, just make a phone call and order takeout, right? Really, her words were unfinished, but the meaningful tone, like a tiny needle, precisely pierced the most sensitive part of my heart, implying the car accident was because I wanted a midnight snack, implying that all of this is my fault. Ethan's soothing voice came from the ward / it's not your sister-in-law's fault. I wanted to go out for some fresh air myself, / Olivia snorted and didn't say anything else, standing outside the door, listening to the conversation inside. I felt a suffocating sensation. Ethan's first words after waking up were to thank me. The second was to worry about his ex-girlfriend, and his family didn't seem to like me, the culprit, very much either. I took a deep breath, suppressing the churning in my heart. Perhaps it's just memory confusion caused by the concussion. He just woke up, and his consciousness isn't clear yet. I tried hard to find excuses for him, but that name, Chloe Lynn, was like a poisonous thorn, deeply embedded in my heart. Not long after, several of my friends and Ethan's childhood friends also arrived at the hospital. Everyone chattered and cared about Ethan's condition, and the ward became lively. I say, Ethan, you're really something. You woke up after sleeping for 3 days. I thought I could get a few free meals from Ava. Ethan's childhood friend Mike patted Ethan on the shoulder and joked boisterously. Ethan was stunned for a moment and looked at me. 3 days? Ava didn't say. I lowered my head guiltily, not daring to respond. Pfft. My best friend Maya couldn't help but laugh. Ava is teasing you. 2 years? She only stayed by your side for 3 days and 3 nights, her eyes as red as a rabbit's. If you really slept for 2 years, she'd probably go crazy first. Ethan suddenly understood, then looked at me with a helpless yet doting expression, reaching out to ruffle my hair. You just like to scare me. His eyes were gentle, and his tone was affectionate, as if that whisper about Chloe Lynn had never happened. The friends around us were also laughing and joking, the atmosphere relaxed and cheerful. I looked into his smiling eyes, and the doubts in my heart were temporarily suppressed. Maybe I was really overthinking it. He just mentioned it casually, or maybe it really was a memory mix-up. I tried to convince myself, raised my smile again, and snuggled into his arms. Who told you to be so easily fooled? In the following days, Ethan recovered quickly. He was as considerate to me as ever, even more clingy than before. He temporarily handed over the company's affairs to the vice president, and we enjoyed a rare moment of leisure. But the thorn in my heart was not removed by his tenderness. The name Chloe Lynn always popped up inadvertently, reminding me of that cold moment. On the weekend, I met my best friend Maya for afternoon tea. Tell me, what is the mentality of a man towards his ex? I stirred the coffee in my cup, asking as if casually. Maya put down her dessert fork, raised her eyebrows and said, "Oh, our big boss Ava has encountered emotional problems? Did that blockhead Ethan upset you?" No. I shook my head, a little hesitant. It's just a little curious. Curious? Maya leaned closer, the fire of gossip burning fiercely. Tell me quickly, is there any movement from Ethan's unattainable ex-girlfriend? I knew she was referring to Chloe Lynn. In Ethan's circle of friends, Chloe Lynn's existence was not a secret. The fact that Chloe Lynn left Ethan for a rich second generation due to her snobbery was once the talk of the town. It's not much of a commotion, I said vaguely. It's just that the day he woke up, I lied to him and said he had been in a coma for 2 years. He was quite touched, but when I went out, I heard him talking to himself, wondering how Chloe Lynn is doing now. Maya's gossipy expression faded slightly, replaced by a hint of understanding. He's already thinking about his ex-girlfriend as soon as he wakes up? TSK. That's interesting. Do you think he still misses her? I asked anxiously. The better Ethan treats me these days, the clearer the knot in my heart becomes. Maya pondered for a moment, then suddenly clapped her hands. Let me tell you, this matter needs to be looked at from 2 perspectives. One is the true white moonlight, a cinnabar mole on the heart, unforgettable and irreplaceable. This is the most troublesome. My heart tightened. There's another type, Maya said, changing the subject with a hint of slyness, called revenge nostalgia. Revenge nostalgia? I asked, puzzled. That's right, Maya explained. Think about it. Why did Chloe Lynn leave back then? Because she thought he was poor. And now? You've helped him build the company, and he's about to reach the peak of his life. At this time, when he thinks of his ex-girlfriend, subconsciously he might not be missing that person, but missing the himself who was looked down upon. Now that he's successful, when he looks back at the woman who looked down on him, doesn't he feel a sense of satisfaction like don't bully a young man for being poor? When he mutters, "I wonder how she's doing now," the subtext might be, "I wonder how the woman who looked down on me is doing now. Does she regret her choice back then?" Maya's theory sounded a bit like sophistry, but it strangely struck a chord in my heart. Yeah, Ethan was such a proud person. Being dumped by Chloe Lynn like that back then must have left a knot in his heart. Now that he's successful and I, his current girlfriend, am so loyal, it seems understandable that he subconsciously has this comparative and boastful mentality. And, Maya continued, he just went through a car accident, a brush with death, so his emotions are fluctuating, and it's normal for him to recall some old stories. The key is to look at his actions now. Is he good to you? Does he treat you like you're precious? I thought of Ethan's meticulous care these past few days, and the undisguised love in his eyes when he looked at me, and the doubts in my heart gradually dissipated. He is quite good to me, I admitted. Then that settles it. Maya picked up her coffee cup, striking a life coach pose. Men, thinking about their exes occasionally doesn't mean anything, just like we sometimes think about our ex-boyfriends. It might just be a fleeting moment of emotion. As long as he's wholeheartedly devoted to you now, that's what matters. Don't scare yourself. Maya's words were like a calming pill, temporarily smoothing out the wrinkles in my heart. I decided to believe her, and to believe Ethan. Maybe I really was overthinking it, that it was just his delirious ramblings after waking up, or, as Maya said, revenge nostalgia. Life seemed to be back on track. After Ethan fully recovered, he threw himself back into work. Our company, Apex Innovations, was rapidly expanding under his leadership. I also devoted myself wholeheartedly, fighting alongside him. The whisper of "how is Chloe Lynn now?" was deliberately suppressed in my heart, trying not to touch it. Until that night, a few of us close friends were chatting in the WhatsApp group. Mike was the first to drop a bombshell. Breaking news. I heard Chloe Lynn is coming back to China next month. My heart jumped, and I subconsciously looked at Ethan, who was sitting next to me processing emails. The group instantly exploded. Really? Didn't she marry into a wealthy family abroad? I heard that something happened to the rich second-generation's family, and they seem to have gone bankrupt. Wow, then why is she back? Don't tell me she wants to get back together with Ethan? Shut up upstairs. Don't you see Ava is also in the group? Messages flooded the group chat one after another, each one stabbing my eyes like a needle. I gripped my phone tightly, my fingertips ice cold. Ethan's expression didn't change. He was still focused on the computer screen, his fingers flying across the keyboard, seemingly indifferent to the discussion in the group. But I noticed that the movement of his typing on the keyboard paused for a split second. The discussion in the group continued, and the topic gradually veered towards guessing Chloe Lynn's plans after returning to China. I exited WhatsApp, feeling a little breathless. What's wrong? Ethan finally finished his work, closed his laptop, and turned to look at me, his tone gentle. Nothing. I shook my head, trying to make my voice sound normal, just watching them chat nonsense in the group. He reached out and put his arm around my shoulders, drawing me into his embrace, his chin resting on my forehead. Don't listen to their nonsense. It's been so long. His tone was very calm, and I couldn't detect any emotion in it. I replied quietly, burying my face in his chest. His embrace was warm, and his heartbeat was strong and powerful, temporarily dispelling the unease in my heart. She and I are a thing of the past, he said softly. The person by my side now is you, and the future will also be you. Don't overthink it, okay? His comfort was timely and effective. I nodded and chose to trust him again. After all, his current performance is impeccable. He didn't show any unusual interest in the news of Chloe Lynn's return to China, and even took the initiative to soothe my emotions. Isn't this proof that he has nothing to hide? The following days were calm and peaceful. Ethan didn't seem to take Chloe Lynn's return to China to heart at all, still busy with company matters and caring for me in every possible way. Yes, that must be it. Until the day Chloe Lynn returned to China, Mike organized a gathering, saying it was to welcome her back and wash away the dust of her journey. Ethan, Ava, you two must come. We're all old classmates and friends. Let's meet up and have some fun, Mike invited enthusiastically on the phone. Ethan glanced at me, as if seeking my opinion. In my heart, I was actually resisting, but then I thought, avoidance doesn't solve the problem. If Ethan has really let go, then facing it calmly is fine. If he's still, then I can see it with my own eyes. Okay, we'll go, I said to the other end of the phone, trying to sound as relaxed as possible. Ethan shook my hand and said nothing. The welcome banquet was held in a private room at a high-end restaurant in the city center. When Ethan and I arrived, many people were already seated inside, mostly former university classmates and friends. The atmosphere was a bit subtle. Everyone was exchanging greetings, but their eyes kept glancing towards the door, clearly waiting for the main character to appear. Ethan and I took our seats. He naturally pulled out a chair for me and poured me a glass of warm water, his movements meticulous. Several female classmates around us showed envious looks. Ethan is still so good to Ava. It's really enviable, someone whispered. I felt a little more at ease. Just then, the door of the private room was pushed open, and Mike led a woman in. Come on, our beautiful Chloe Lynn has finally arrived, Mike introduced with a smile. All eyes were focused on that woman. I also looked over. Chloe Lynn had changed a lot after not seeing her for a few years. She had shed the naivete of her university days, wearing a well-tailored champagne-colored dress, with delicate makeup, and her hair was permed into fashionable waves. She exuded a mature and elegant temperament, completely different from the slightly pure girl with ambition written in her eyes back then. She greeted everyone with a smile. Her eyes swept across the room, and finally landed on Ethan. Ethan's expression was very calm, even indifferent. He simply nodded politely, without getting up or offering any further greeting. Chloe Lynn's smile seemed to stiffen for a moment, but quickly returned to normal as she walked to the empty seat next to Ethan. That seat was directly opposite me. Ethan, long time no see, she said, her voice gentle. Long time no see. Ethan responded faintly, then turned and placed a piece of my favorite dish into my bowl. Try this. It tastes good. His movements were natural and smooth, as if we were the center of this dinner party. The last bit of unease in my heart was dispelled a lot by his consideration. During the dinner, Ethan took care of me meticulously, peeling shrimp, removing fish bones, pouring drinks. He almost treated me like a child who couldn't take care of myself. The people around us saw it and had different expressions in their eyes. Some were envious, some were jealous, and some were waiting for a good show. Chloe Lynn maintained a proper smile, occasionally chatting with the person next to her, but her eyes always drifted towards Ethan and me intentionally or unintentionally. After a few rounds of drinks, the atmosphere gradually warmed up. Everyone started chatting about their recent situations. Just then, Ethan suddenly put down his chopsticks and cleared his throat. Everyone quieted down and looked at him. He took my hand, raised it, and our fingers intertwined. He looked at me, his eyes gentle and firm. Taking advantage of everyone being here today, he said slowly, his voice clear in everyone's ears. I have an announcement to make. My heart started racing. I had a premonition. Ava and I, he paused, his gaze sweeping across the room, finally settling on Chloe Lynn's face across from him, are planning to get married at the end of the year. Wow. Congratulations. Congratulations. That's great. The private room instantly erupted with enthusiastic applause and cheers. Friends raised their glasses to congratulate us. I was a little stunned by this sudden announcement, but more than that, I felt immense joy and a sense of settling down. Announcing our marriage in front of everyone, especially Chloe Lynn, undoubtedly gave me the greatest sense of security. I looked at Chloe Lynn. She still had her standard smile on her face, and even raised her glass to us, signaling from afar /congratulations, but her eyes seemed a little dim. I was immersed in the joy of getting married and temporarily ignored the subtle feeling of unease in my heart. Why did he choose to announce this news today, at Chloe Lynn's welcome back party? Was it a coincidence, or deliberate? Before I could think about it, Ethan suddenly took out a velvet box from his pocket and opened it in front of me. Inside lay an exquisitely designed diamond necklace, a brilliant pear-shaped diamond set on a platinum chain, sparkling in the light. This is for you, my fiancé, he said softly, his voice laced with amusement. Another burst of exclamations and teasing erupted around them. Wow, how many carats is that? Ethan is too generous. Ava, you are so lucky. I looked at the necklace, my heart bubbling with sweetness. What woman could resist such a romantic surprise? Put it on and see, Maya urged from the side. Ethan picked up the necklace and put it on me himself. The cold chain touched my skin, and the diamond on my chest was heavy, shining with dazzling light. I couldn't help but reach out and stroke the diamond, feeling almost overwhelmed with happiness. Thank you, Ethan. I looked up at him, my eyes full of smiles. He lowered his head and placed a gentle kiss on my forehead. Chloe Lynn, sitting across from me, held her wine glass with a slightly forced smile. She looked at the necklace on my neck with a complex expression. Just then, Chloe Lynn suddenly sighed, put down her wine glass, and a look of worry appeared on her face. Speaking of which, she smiled wryly, looking at everyone. Don't laugh at me. I'm not as glamorous as I used to be. Everyone quieted down, looking at her curiously. My dad's company has run into some problems, a cash flow issue, and now our family fortune has declined, she said frankly, her tone tinged with sadness. This time coming back to China, I also want to see if there are any opportunities, if I can find friends to help. The moment she said this, the atmosphere at the table quieted down considerably. Everyone knew that Chloe Lynn came from a good family, but they didn't expect her to suddenly fall on hard times. Ethan frowned almost imperceptibly. I noticed that the knuckles of his hand holding the wine glass tightened slightly, turning a little white. This subtle action, like a small thorn, pricked my heart once again. Was he nervous? Or heartbroken? Chloe, don't be too sad. There will always be a way. Someone comforted. Yes. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to ask. Mike echoed. Chloe Lynn smiled gratefully. Thank you, everyone. Actually, my dad used to have some business dealings with Ethan's family. This time I came back, I also want to ask Ethan if he can help out a little, for the sake of our past relationship. Her gaze went directly to Ethan, with a hint of pleading and anticipation. Ethan didn't answer immediately. He silently watched the liquor in his glass, his expression somewhat subtle. I could feel that everyone around me was focused on Ethan, waiting for his answer, including me. Just then, a female classmate next to me, who used to be good friends with Chloe Lynn, quietly leaned in and whispered in my ear, Ava, your necklace is so beautiful. Is it from De Beers? I remember Chloe used to love this brand the most. She used to talk about it every day in college, saying that her boyfriend must give her one in the future. Boom. These words were like a bolt from the blue, exploding in my mind. De Beers? Chloe Lynn's favorite brand? I suddenly lowered my head, looking at the sparkling diamond necklace on my chest. The gift, which I had just thought was incredibly precious, now felt unbearably hot. So, he gave me this expensive necklace not because I liked it, nor on a whim, but because this is what Chloe Lynn once wanted most. Is he making up for past regrets? Or is he showing off to her that he can now afford the things she once dreamed of? Or even, is this simply bought for her? Just using the announcement of our marriage as an excuse to give it to me? Countless terrifying thoughts grew wildly in my mind, instantly dragging me down from the cloud of happiness and slamming me to the ground. My blood rushed to my head, my ears buzzed, and I could barely hear the sounds around me. I felt dizzy and my stomach churned. Ava, what's wrong? You look so pale? Maya noticed something was wrong with me. I struggled to stand up, my voice trembling slightly. Excuse me, I don't feel well. I'm going to the restroom. I almost staggered out of the private room, and behind me came Ethan's concerned voice. Ava. I didn't look back. I went straight into the bathroom and locked the door. The cold tiles pressed against my back, but I didn't feel the slightest coolness, only a feeling of being feverish all over, as if scorched by invisible flames. The me in the mirror was pale, my lips were trembling, and the diamond necklace around my neck shone with a cold light, stinging my eyes. So, the so-called surprise, the so-called deep affection, could all be carefully designed performances. So, the sentence "I wonder how Chloe Lynn is doing now" was not a casual remark, but the most authentic concern in his heart. So, when he publicly announced our engagement and gifted me that expensive necklace, it wasn't to give me a sense of security, but rather to provoke Chloe Lynn? Or was it to flaunt his success and generosity while she was down on her luck? I slowly slid down the wall until I was sitting on the floor, and tears finally burst forth uncontrollably. My heart felt like it was being tightly clenched by an invisible hand, hurting so much that I couldn't breathe. I don't know how much time had passed, but there was a knock on the door. It was Ethan. Ava? Ava? What's wrong? Open the door. His voice was filled with anxiety. I wiped my tears haphazardly, took a deep breath, and tried to make my voice sound calmer. I'm fine, just a little drunk. I'll be okay after a while. Open the door and let me see, he said, worried. No need, I'm really fine. You should go back quickly. Don't keep everyone waiting. I refused. Outside was silent for a while. Then came the sound of his footsteps leaving. I sat on the cold ground, my mind a mess. Anger, disappointment, humiliation, heartache. All sorts of emotions intertwined, almost swallowing me whole. What should I do? Rush out and confront him? Embarrass him in front of everyone? No, that won't do. That would be too humiliating. I must calm down. I pinched myself hard, forcing myself to stand up, walk to the sink, and splash my face with cold water again and again. The icy touch made me a little more awake. Looking at my disheveled self in the mirror, I slowly straightened my back. I can't just let it go like this. I composed myself, touched up my makeup, made sure I looked no different from usual, then took a deep breath and opened the bathroom door. Back in the private room, the atmosphere had returned to normal. Everyone was chatting, and Ethan was talking to Mike about something. When he saw me return, he immediately got up to greet me. Are you feeling better? He took my hand and carefully examined my face. Yes, I'm fine. I smiled at him, a hint of deliberate detachment in my smile. He seemed to notice something. His brow furrowed slightly, but he didn't ask any further questions. At the dinner that followed, I felt like I was chewing wax. Ethan was as attentive to me as ever, but I could no longer feel the sweetness and happiness I had felt before, only an immense sense of irony. Chloe Lynn, on the other hand, seemed very calm, chatting with everyone about her plans after returning to China. She would occasionally say a few words to Ethan, mostly about seeking help. Ethan's responses were cautious, neither immediately agreeing nor completely refusing, only saying that he would consider it. The dinner finally came to an end. On the way home, the car was silent. Ethan tried to speak several times, but I subtly brushed him off. I'm a little tired and want to rest. He glanced at me and ultimately said nothing more. As soon as I got home, I couldn't hold back anymore. Ethan, I stood in the center of the living room, looking at him. That necklace, from De Beers, right? He paused in the act of taking off his coat, turned around, and looked at me with some surprise. Yes, what's wrong? It's nothing. I tugged at the corner of my mouth, trying to maintain my composure. I just suddenly remembered hearing someone say that Chloe Lynn loved this brand the most in college. Ethan's expression changed almost imperceptibly, but he quickly returned to normal. Really? I don't remember. I just thought this necklace suited you, so I bought it. Really? I stared into his eyes, trying to find a trace of a flaw. You gave me this necklace, announced the wedding at the end of the year, all on the same day, at her welcome back party. Ethan, dare you say that none of this has anything to do with her? Ava, what nonsense are you thinking? His brow furrowed, his tone laced with displeasure. I'm giving you gifts and announcing our engagement because I love you and want to spend my life with you. What does this have to do with Chloe Lynn? She's already in the past for me. Past tense? I sneered. A past tense worth you thinking about whether she's doing well the moment you wake up? Worth you giving your current girlfriend her favorite brand? Worth you clenching your glass and reacting so subtly when she's down on her luck? My voice grew more and more agitated, and the emotions I had suppressed all night finally erupted. Ethan's face darkened. Ava, I admit I did mention her when I first woke up, but that might just be a subconscious reaction. As for the necklace, I really just thought it looked nice. At the banquet, seeing her down on her luck, I might have felt a little sentimental. After all, we knew each other, but that doesn't mean I still have feelings for her. Can you please stop being so unreasonable? Unreasonable? His words stabbed my heart, causing a sharp pain. Ethan, you're lying. You clearly care about her. You gave me this necklace to show off to her, or to make up for your regrets back then. You announced our wedding to make her jealous, right? Ava, he raised his voice, his face showing anger. I am not lying. I did all this for you. How could you think of me like that? After all these years of our relationship, is it not enough to outweigh a long-gone ex-girlfriend? His firm gaze and unquestionable tone made me waver for a moment. Could it be that I am really too suspicious and too sensitive? Just as we were arguing fiercely, my phone rang. It was my best friend Maya calling. I took a deep breath, answered the phone, and tried to make my voice sound normal. Ava, are you okay? You didn't look so good just now, Maya asked with concern. I'm okay. Oh, don't argue with Ethan over that little thing, Maya interrupted me, her tone excited. Let me tell you a secret, but you absolutely can't tell Ethan I told you. What? Actually, Ethan has been planning to propose to you for a long time. He even bought the ring. It's hidden in that locked drawer in his study. I accidentally saw it when I went to your house last time. He probably wanted to give you a surprise, but Chloe Lynn's return disrupted his plans. So he decided to announce the wedding news today and give you the necklace to reassure you. Maya's words were like a light, instantly illuminating my chaotic thoughts. A marriage proposal? A ring? He had already prepared them? If this is true, does it mean that Ethan really wants to marry me, and not to provoke Chloe Lynn? And the necklace was just a temporary substitute? Really? My voice trembled slightly. Of course. It's true. Why would I lie to you? That ring is so beautiful. It looks very valuable. So, don't overthink it. Ethan definitely only has you in his heart. Maya said with certainty. Having hung up the phone, I looked at Ethan's displeased face in front of me, and the scale in my heart began to waver again. Maybe, Maya is right. Maybe I'm really overthinking it. He's just not good at expressing himself, or has some straight male thinking, and didn't consider the meaning behind the necklace brand. He loves me and wants to marry me. That's the most important thing, isn't it? Looking at his tightly furrowed brows, a sense of guilt surged in my heart. He just went through a car accident, and his body hasn't fully recovered. Yet I had a big fight with him over an ex-girlfriend. Am I being too inconsiderate? I lowered my head, my voice a little choked, and said, I'm sorry, maybe I really am overthinking it. Ethan was stunned for a moment, then stepped forward and gently hugged me. Silly girl, how could I not care about you? Don't think nonsense. His embrace was still warm, with a familiar scent. I leaned against his chest, listening to his strong heartbeat, and the doubts and anxieties in my heart were once again forcibly suppressed. I chose to believe him again. I believed in our years of affection, and I believed in the sincerity in his eyes. The following days seemed to return to peace. Ethan was even more gentle and considerate towards me, never mentioning Chloe Lynn. I deliberately avoided the topic as well, trying to immerse myself in the happiness to come. Until that day, Ethan carefully planned a romantic proposal, in the most upscale revolving restaurant in the city center, covered with rose petals, to the sound of melodious violin music. He knelt on one knee and took out the diamond ring that Maya had mentioned. It was a uniquely designed ring, with tiny diamonds surrounding the main diamond, sparkling in the light, even more dazzling than that necklace. Ava, he looked up at me, his eyes full of affection and focus. Meeting you is the luckiest thing that has ever happened to me. Thank you for being with me through the hard times and witnessing my growth. I want to walk the road ahead with you. Will you marry me? The applause and blessings of other guests around us rang out. I looked at the expectation and sincerity in his eyes, and tears blurred my vision. All doubts and anxieties seemed to vanish at this moment. I nodded vigorously and held out my hand. I do. He happily placed the ring on my ring finger, stood up, and hugged me tightly. At that moment, I believed that I was the happiest woman in the world. I believed that Ethan truly loved me. I believed that we would have a bright future. However, bubbles of happiness are always so easy to break. Just as I was immersed in the joy of becoming a bride, wholeheartedly throwing myself into preparing for the wedding and company business, a cruel truth plunged me completely into hell. Our company has recently been working on a very important project, and the partner is Global Tech, a well-known multinational group in the industry. If this project can be secured, it will be crucial to the development of Apex Innovations. I am personally responsible for this project and have put in a lot of effort, staying up all night for several nights, and finally reached a preliminary cooperation intention with the other party. Just as I was preparing to finalize the details of the final contract with the other party, the person in charge of the other party suddenly told me that they had decided to cooperate with another company. Ava, I am very sorry, the other party said apologetically. After careful consideration, we have decided to hand over this project to another newly established company called Phoenix Consulting. Phoenix Consulting? I've never heard of this name before. May I venture to ask what caused your company to change its mind? I suppressed the shock and confusion in my heart, trying to remain calm. This, mainly due to Mr. Ethan's recommendation. He said that although Phoenix Consulting is a new company, the person in charge is very capable, and has some connection with Mr. Ethan, and hopes we can give him a chance. The other party was silent for a moment, seeming a little embarrassed. Ethan's recommendation? My heart sank suddenly. Excuse me, who is the head of Phoenix Consulting? I asked, almost holding my breath. I think it's someone surnamed Lynn, called Chloe Lynn. Chloe Lynn, My mind went blank instantly. Ethan actually handed over the project I worked so hard to secure to Chloe Lynn? That man who swore he loved me, wanted to marry me, and claimed his ex was ancient history, actually stabbed me in the back like this? I hung up the phone, and my whole body was shaking. Anger, betrayal, disbelief, all kinds of emotions overwhelmed me like a tsunami. I immediately rushed to Ethan's office and slammed the door open. He was sitting behind his desk on the phone when he saw me barge in. Fuming, he was taken aback for a moment, then hurriedly said, "I'll talk to you later," to the other end of the phone and hung up. "Ava? What's wrong? What happened?" He stood up, a look of confusion on his face. "Ethan." I stared at him intently, my voice trembling with anger. "Did you give the global tech project to Chloe Lynn?" Ethan's face changed instantly. He opened his mouth, seeming to want to explain something, but in the end, he just looked away without directly answering. His silence was the best answer. "Why?" I felt my heart bleeding, my voice so sharp it almost cracked. "You know how important that project is to me, how important it is to the company. Why did you give it to Chloe Lynn? Tell me why." Ethan's face was very ugly. He was silent for a long time before he said with difficulty, "Ava, listen to my explanation." "Explain? Okay, explain. I'm listening to your explanation." I crossed my arms and looked at him coldly. "Chloe's family helped me before." Ethan's voice was very low. "When I first started my business, I didn't have enough funds. Her father secretly lent me 300,000 yuan, which helped me get through the difficulties. Now that her family is down on their luck and she's come back to ask me for help, I can't ignore her." "A favor?" I almost laughed out of anger. "Does a favor of 300,000 yuan need you to repay it with a project worth tens of millions? And with my hard work? I know this is unfair to you." Ethan tried to appease me. "But Chloe, she has been pampered since she was a child and hasn't suffered any hardship. Now that her family is like this, she can't support herself at all. If I help her win this project, it will at least allow her to stabilize temporarily. She can't endure hardship?" I couldn't believe my ears. "So I deserve to suffer? I deserve to have the project I worked so hard to negotiate be given away by you?" "Ethan, tell me, in your heart, who is more important, me or your ex-girlfriend?" "Ava, it's not a question of who's more important." "Yes, it is." I interrupted him, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. "You are sacrificing my interests and the company's interests for your ex-girlfriend. Your so-called repayment of kindness, your so-called she can't endure hardship, are just excuses. You still love her, don't you?" Ethan looked at me, my face covered in tears, a flash of pain and struggle crossing his face. He reached out his hand to touch me, but I violently pushed it away. "Don't touch me." I took a step back, my eyes filled with disappointment and disgust as I looked at him. "Ethan, I really misjudged you." His explanation was pale and weak, every word stabbing into my heart like a knife. The so-called kindness, the so-called reluctance, couldn't hide the fact that he betrayed me for his ex-girlfriend. A debt of 300,000? How much is he worth now? Can't he repay this 300,000? Does he need to use a major project that concerns the future of the company to repay his gratitude? And that sentence, "she can't endure hardship," completely shattered my last shred of illusion about him. Yes, Chloe Lynn is a pampered young lady who can't endure hardship. And what about me? I accompanied him from scratch, survived so many difficulties, and endured so much hardship. In his eyes, is it all just taken for granted? It turned out that in his heart, his ex-girlfriend's pride and my sacrifices were never on the same scale. There is no greater sorrow than a dead heart. At this moment, all my love for him turned into cold ashes. "Ethan," I wiped away my tears, my voice so calm that even I found it unfamiliar. "We're done." Having said that, I turned and left without looking at him again. I know that this relationship ends here, but I won't let it go like this. What he owes me, I will get back little by little, with interest. In the following days, I behaved with unusual calmness. Ethan tried to explain, apologize, and salvage things with me, but I ignored him. I no longer argued with him, nor did I question him, but coldly handled official business as if nothing had happened. My calmness made Ethan even more uneasy. He began to treat me extra well, giving gifts, saying soft words, and trying to make amends. Ava, I know I was wrong. Can you give me one more chance? He probed cautiously. I looked at him, and there was not a ripple in my heart. Opportunity? Sure. His eyes lit up. But, I changed the subject. The global tech project has already been given to Chloe Lynn. That's a done deal. I don't want this to affect the company's normal operation. However, to compensate me, and to appease the emotions of my team, you have to show some sincerity, right? Ethan nodded quickly. Tell me, as long as I can do it. It's very simple, I said lightly. First, assign the business of the newly developed area in the east of the city to me to be solely responsible for, with all resources prioritized. Second, hasn't your sister Olivia always wanted to join the company? Let her come to my new department to help. Ethan was stunned for a moment. The business in the east of the city is the company's key future development direction, with great potential. Giving this business to me is almost equivalent to handing over half of the company's future to me. As for Olivia, his sister has always been spoiled by the family, arrogant and domineering, and he wants her to work under me? Ava, the project in the east of the city is too important. You alone, he hesitated. What, don't you trust me? I raised my eyebrows. Or are you saying that your so-called compensation is just lip service? No, Ethan immediately denied. He just wanted to stabilize me now. Okay, I promise you. The business in the east of the city belongs to you, and Olivia will go to your side too. He probably thought that I wanted to use this to control him, or just to fight for a breath of air. He might even think that letting Olivia come under my command could also conveniently monitor me. He doesn't know that this is just the first step in my plan. Olivia is indeed not an easy person to deal with. As soon as she entered the new department I was in charge of, she began to act like a tyrant. Relying on the fact that she is the boss's sister, she is picky about her work, bossy to her colleagues, and often interferes with departmental decisions under the guise of Ethan. I watched coldly, not stopping her, and even intentionally or unintentionally gave her some opportunities to perform. Soon, the new department was thrown into chaos by Olivia, and complaints were everywhere. Several core members couldn't bear it any longer and went directly to Ethan to complain. Ethan was overwhelmed, having to appease me on one hand and deal with the mess Olivia had created on the other. I took the initiative to find Ethan. Ethan, you see, the company is now very unhappy internally because of Olivia's matter. If this continues, it will not only affect the development of the Qingdong business, but also damage the overall image of the company. Ethan rubbed his brow wearily. Then what do you suggest? I can't really fire her. Separate, I said calmly. Separate what? Ethan was surprised. Company split. I presented the plan I had already prepared. Completely separate the business in the east of the city and establish a new company, which I will be fully responsible for. This will not only ensure the independent operation of this business without interference, but also prevent Olivia from continuing to affect other people at Apex Innovations. We are still strategic partners, just separated in management. Ethan looked at me in shock, clearly not expecting me to make such a request. Splitting the company? This means I would be taking away a core business and starting my own. Ava, he couldn't accept it. Or what? I retorted. Do you want to watch the company suffer internal friction and lose its cohesion? Or do you want me, this meritorious person, to be constantly held back by your sister, and finally leave disheartened? I presented him with the multiple choice questions. Ethan was faced with a difficult choice. On one hand, there was the booming East Side business and my abilities, and on the other hand, there was his troublesome but unavoidable sister, and the significant risks that could arise from splitting the company. Ultimately, under my persistence and the pressure of reality, he reluctantly agreed to my plan. He probably thought that even if it was split off, I would still be under his control, we would still be engaged, and the new company would still need the support of Apex Innovations. He's too naive. The company split agreement was signed quickly. I took the core team of the Eastern District business and the accumulated customer resources, and quickly established a new company, Nova Tech. The day I left Apex Innovations, I had no regrets. I took what I deserved, and I also took the employees who truly recognized me and were willing to follow me. I heard that after I left, Ethan put more energy into helping Chloe Lynn's Phoenix Consulting, trying to make up for the debt and favor in his heart. Apex Innovations began to experience some problems due to the loss of key personnel and management chaos. Meanwhile, I devoted myself wholeheartedly to the development of Nova Tech. One sunny afternoon, I called Ethan. Hello, Ava? He sounded a little tired. Ethan, my voice was calm and steady. Let's break up. After a long while, he finally spoke. His voice hoarse. Ava, stop it. Didn't we agree? I'm serious. I interrupted him. V already put the ring on your desk. From now on, we owe each other nothing. Why, Ava, why? Is it because of Chloe? Just as he was trying to explain, I heard another woman's voice from the other end of the phone, sweet and coquettish. Ethan, have you helped me revise my proposal? I need to send it to Global Tech this afternoon. It's Chloe Lynn. Ethan's tone instantly softened. With a hint of ingratiation, it'll be ready soon. Go over there and wait for me for a bit. Then, he said to me, Ava, I have something to deal with here. I'll talk to you later. No need. I interrupted him coldly. Let's just leave it at that. After saying that, I hung up the phone and immediately blacklisted Ethan's number. From now on, he and Chloe Lynn, will be two parallel lines that never intersect. Under my leadership, Nova Tech developed rapidly and quickly gained a foothold in the industry, even showing a faint momentum of surpassing Apex Innovations. On Ethan's side, however, came a series of bad news. Global Tech's project was not handled well by Phoenix Consulting. Instead, due to Chloe Lynn's inexperience and the internal power struggles at Global Tech, it was a complete mess, and Global Tech unilaterally terminated the cooperation. Chloe Lynn not only didn't appreciate Ethan's favor, but instead pushed all the blame onto him, accusing him of sacrificing my project to repay a debt, causing her to be unable to hold her head up in the new company and being ridiculed by people from Global Tech. Ethan tried to explain that he was trying to help her, even at the cost of offending my team and partners. Chloe Lynn sneered. Help me? I think you're just trying to curry favor with me. Don't think I don't know what you're up to. Want to be a son-in-law of the Lynn family? Too bad. The current Lynn family is not what it used to be. Worse still, Apex Innovations was also plagued with internal problems. After I took away the core team, the company's operational efficiency plummeted. Olivia became increasingly arrogant and domineering in the company, offending many veteran employees, leading to a loss of morale and a wave of resignations. To make matters worse, Olivia secretly embezzled company funds and was discovered by the company's finance department. In order to protect her daughter, Zhang's mother actually prevented the police from being called and tried to settle the matter privately. As a result, the matter escalated and eventually came to light, completely exploding. Apex Innovations' reputation plummeted. Its stock price crashed, partners withdrew their investments, and the company fell into an unprecedented crisis. Ethan was frantic, running around trying to salvage the situation, but with little effect. With no way out, he thought of me. He called me again, his tone humble and pleading. Ava, I know I was wrong. Please, for the sake of our past relationship, help me. I sneered. Help you? How? Let me give you Nova Tech's clients and projects to fill Apex Innovations' hole? No, he hurriedly explained. That's not what I meant. I really don't know what to do now. Ava, I know you are capable and well-connected. Please give me some advice and help me get through this. Give advice? I repeated these 3 words with a playful tone. Okay, I can give you some advice. Really? Thank you, Ava. His tone carried a hint of hope. My advice is, I said, word by word, clearly and coldly, stop thinking about taking shortcuts, stop thinking about speculation, and do a good job with the company with your own ability and down-to-earth work. Also, stay away from Chloe Lynn. The other end of the phone went silent again. Ava, I know you're still angry with me. Ethan finally spoke again after a long silence, his tone tinged with defeat. I admit that I helped Chloe Lynn back then with a speculative motive. I thought that if I could reconnect with the Lynn family, it would definitely benefit the company's development, and I could work less hard for decades. I admit I was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have sacrificed your feelings and career for the sake of profit. He finally admitted his true purpose. The so-called repaying kindness, the so-called not having the heart to do it, were just excuses to cover up his speculative mentality. Work less hard for decades? I sneered. Ethan, you really think too highly of yourself and the Lynn family. You think you can achieve success once and for all through speculation? You think you can trade your own success for the sacrifice of other people's interests? You're wrong. Completely wrong. Ava, I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. His voice was choked with sobs. Please, give me one more chance. I promise I won't do it again. Can we start over? Go back to the way we were. Back to when we first started our business. Working hard together. Fighting together. We can't go back. I interrupted his fantasies, my tone icy and resolute. Ethan, some mistakes, once made, cannot be undone. Some feelings, once broken, cannot be repaired. You destroyed everything between us with your own hands, and now you say you regret it. It's too late, Ava. He wanted to say something more, but I had no patience to listen. Let's just leave it at that. I hung up the phone, completely ending all contact with him. In the end, Ethan was abandoned by everyone, and Apex Innovations was on the verge of bankruptcy. Everything he once had, reputation, status, wealth, collapsed like a sandcastle. As for me, I led Nova Tech to rapid advancement, becoming a rising star in the business world. I didn't look back, nor did I feel a trace of pity for Ethan's fate. This was his own doing, the price he paid for his greed and betrayal. My life has just begun. The road ahead is still very long. I will rely on my own hands to create my own glory.